Seat filling in Indianapolis. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you are aware, Harry's wife doled out some beige word salad, and we don't know what she actually said, but we can have a guess because it's basically a one-track sense of authentic layers, multi-dimension, sitting in authenticity, empowerment, talk about me, bring up something from my childhood, bring up something from when I was at school, provide you with several revisions of history, yada, 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 repeat, send them to sleep. Naturally, it wounds her that she's not doling out this word salad to packed stadia around the United States, as she would seek to emulate certain behaviours of her heroes, Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama. No, not for her. Instead, she finds herself relegated to a downtown hotel, the Marriott, in Indianapolis, which is within what is widely referred to as a flyover state. This is demonstrative of the way that her stock has fallen. And as I explained in parts passing, she will take no accountability for this herself. However, along with all of the individuals that paid over the odds to receive this word salad and also a framed picture of Harry's wife, wondering why on earth they've got a picture of Harry's wife and her hairdresser, or when Harry's wife decided to do this, I am a seal, at the polo, they are then sat there thinking, cheap chocolates, bubble wrap, that's not environmentally conscious. Well, at least I can take the photograph out of the frame and put something more interesting in, for instance, a picture of my dog or my family. But we know that seat filling has taken place. Such is the lack of draw that Harry's wife has these days, that some of the seats were filled. And this is because the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana tweeted with a picture in front of the Christmas tree, "We are beyond thrilled to send our CEO, a few board members, and a great group of Girl Scouts to the Power of Women, an evening with Harry's wife, the Duchess of Sussex." There is no way that the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana, when this was first advertised as taking place as the Power of Women event, thought, do you know what, we'll use some of our funds made from bake sales and doing Bob a Job. Do the Girl Scouts still do that? I don't know. Anyway, they won't be using up their hard-earned donations as they undertake charity work to go and spunk it on this attendance. No, not at all. They simply wouldn't do that. To my mind, what has happened here is that there's been a charity donor that has then decided, let's give it to the Girl Scouts. Let's do some female empowerment in line with what Harry's wife bangs on about. Or somebody else, perhaps the Society for Bald People, decided that they were going to stay in and wash their hair, and therefore decided to provide the table to the Girl Scouts rather than attend themselves. And therefore the Girl Scouts have got a freebie. Good for them. Now, this, of course, is demonstrative of the way that Harry's wife's stock has fallen, that it has to be seat fillers. And undoubtedly, the young Girl Scouts will probably be quite excited. Going to a hotel with the adults, going to have a nice meal. Of course, it'll completely go over their heads about the fact that it's a supposed networking event. They're not going to be interested in that. But how would Harry's wife feel about this? Well, of course, again, it would wound her to know that people are giving away the tables. And, of course, she doesn't like children. Her cognitive empathy causes her to put on a display that she likes children. And if she were introduced to the Girl Scouts, she would ask them some banal questions such as, do you feel really cool because you're meeting a real princess? And do you want to be like me someday? But ultimately, she doesn't like children because she has no emotional empathy. And moreover, it would irritate her because children aren't particularly useful appliances when compared to an adult. The fact is, whilst they provide fuel, they are non-intimate secondary sources, and therefore only a moderate position within the fuel matrix. They invariably don't have money to spend. Yes, they could have some pester power with regard to their parents, but that's not what Harry's wife is going to be looking for. She wants somebody in a media empire who is going to blindly hand over several $1 million to her to enable her to make a series talking about herself. The kids don't matter. They're easy to control, of course. She would receive some fuel from them, but there's no real character traits to acquire, and in terms of residual benefits, they don't hit the spot at all. They're not going to give her access to other networks, they're not going to spend money with her, and therefore the only use they would have would be with regard to part of the facade management by being pleasant to them. But inside, her narcissism would effectively be seething. Why on earth have we got these brats turning up? And I'm sure the children aren't, but that's how she would regard them, as brats. This should have been sold to meaningful people so I could make proper connections and, in effect, merch myself. What about the children's attendance at this event? Well, would one be concerned that they're going to be indoctrinated into the beige world of Harry's wife? I think not. Quite simply, they'd be pretty too excited, jibber-jabbering with one another and saying, "Oh, you've got a picture of somebody impersonating a seal too. Wow, how strange. Still, let's rip that out and we can put a picture in Harry Styles in instead. He's far nicer to look at." They'll also, of course, just be chatting amongst themselves, and whatever beige word salad is pumped out by Harry's wife will undoubtedly go in one ear and out the other, and they will pay it no little regard. Of course, there'll be those that might think, well, they could fall prey to her narcissistic manipulations, but as I've explained, in the grand scheme of things, they are not that important to her within the fuel matrix, and therefore, other than perhaps go and talk to them for a brief period of time, as I've already outlined, for the purpose of facade management, she wouldn't really want to have anything to do with them. There are bigger fish in the room, perhaps, that she would home in on to try and merch instead. But of course, this demonstrates one thing. She is nowhere near as popular as she believes that she is, and that this event, although we haven't had details of what was said, and we don't have details of everybody that attended, the fact that the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana turned up there means that there was seat filling going on. As I pointed out some 10 days ago, sales were not going well, and therefore the seat filling has had to take place in order to ensure that there were bums on seats. This is a problem for Harry's wife. Not only do the appropriate bums on seats not be of huge importance to her, but also the fact that she would be recognising that the players that she would hope would be there have not turned up. And that, of course, will cause wounding for her. Naturally, it's not her fault, and her narcissism will direct her to go and blame somebody else, suggesting they have failed to advertise it, market it properly, and so forth. The fact that we know that the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana turned up demonstrates that the seat filling was very much taking place in Indianapolis. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.